pwede magsamak-samak kasi mag-istorbo na ilang mga video.
And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
Disebut baru lah ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, our officiating minister for today's celebration, Pastor Kai Sumatra. We have here also our candle lighters. Mr. and Mrs. Renee Cabilonio. Now we have our best man, tuan. We have here also, ladies and gentlemen, the parents of the groom. We have Mr. Nilo Cabiloque and Mrs. Evelyn Cabiloque. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a round of applause to our group, Sannie Cabiloque. Our principal sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Wedding Gymnastic. Mr. and Mrs. Loeline and Mario Gymnastic. We have here also Mr. and Mrs. Marlindri Valenia. Mr. and Mrs. Felipe Minamata. Mr. and Mrs. Solomon Kayabyab. Mrs. Lorna Padlas. Mr. Renato Bohe. And we have Mrs. Lidan Villasor. Mr. and Mrs. Ismael Tulo. Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Gilligaw. Mr. and Mrs. Nathaniel Macote. We have here also Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Paterna. Mr. and Mrs. Jewel Tungko. Mr. and Mrs. Romulo Jackson. Mr. and Mrs. Ellie Martino. Mr. and Mrs. Elden Tadlas. Mr. and Mrs. Jared Tadlas. Mr. and Mrs. Jared Tadlas. Mr. and Mrs. Edgar Ibega. Mr. and Mrs. Miguel Odari Jr. Espiritu. Riken Espiritu and Quincy Makana. Yvonne Garfield and John Lester Bullet. Luel Alojado. We have it here, Krishna and Van Van.
Naglawig na na.
Venice Borlasa and Johan Garfield. We have our Bible bearer, John Ray Bina Jr. Our covenant bearer, Rice Zol Kaminoke. Sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Denise Kapinoke. Dennis Kapinoke. Our board sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Rene Kapinoke.
Smile lang, kamera ba? Smile.
We have in here also the maid of honor, Christine Aina Espiritu. We have here also the parent of the bride, Mrs. Lisa Borlaza Villanueva. And we have here also Sir Warnito Borlasa. our little bride, Madison Tablas, and little groom, Darius. We would like to ask all the guests, please get inside before we will have the grand entrance to our bride. All the guests, please
Madi,
get inside.
Madi, Madi, Madi. Day, galag. Sa chat ako mag na mo kasi nga alin. Galag ya. Chat. Sa chat na lang sa chat. Ano ako naggalay ba? Di ko tuman.
May I invite the congregation to stand to welcome the bride. But when we first met, I got so nervous I couldn't speak. In that very moment, I found the moment my life had found its missing piece. So as long as I live, I love you, will have and hold you. You look so beautiful in white, and from now to my very last breath, this day I'll cherish. You look so beautiful in white tonight. What we have is timeless. My love is endless.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to our bride, Sharon Wedding.
You're my every reason. You're all that I believe in. And with this word, I mean every word. So as long as I live, I love you. We'll have and hold you. You look so beautiful in white. And from now to my very last breath, this day I cherish. You look so beautiful in white tonight. You look so beautiful in white.
Sannie.
So as long as I live, I love you. Will have and hold you. You look so beautiful in white. And from now to my very last breath, this day I'll cherish. You look so beautiful in white tonight. You look so beautiful in white tonight.
Boy, boy. Ako yung remote ng taluan.
Pag-bless ang diri man.
Atong tampon ng mga so, ni kong channel ko ako
May I request all the congregation to sit down. I think Boy Boy and Chacha also can take their seat. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to officiate this wedding ceremony to Boy Boy and Chacha. How many minutes do you want me to speak? 2 minutes? Huh? I know for Chacha's family, it is quite far, from their place coming to Bukidnon. Huh? Right? From Liti. And this shows, the magnitude of your love coming to Mindanao, particularly to Bukidnon. And I believe love will always find its way. Love will always find its way. Who can imagine Boy from Bukidnon, particularly from Buyog, and Chat from Liti, and you find its way, and you love each other. It's a miracle. That love is a miracle indeed. Love is a miracle indeed. And so we are happy actually in this side, and of course picture of
Naibayad ni.
you have all the support of all the relatives. Of course with your family also coming from your way from Liti up to our venue is filled with joy and happiness because of your decision to finally unite yourself and unite together into this holy ceremony. So, I hope you will listen to me in few minutes.
Naman.
And take
Ako na
this
yung butan dito.
important
Hindi, makita ang live ko siya.
function.
Ito na ko na.
We have here, of course, the parents of Boy, Sannie, Mr. and Mrs. Kabiloki, and of course your family also, your parents. We have Jesse Villanueva and Lesa your lesson. You are here to support, the decision of your daughter, yeah, to get married. And I assure you, Chuck, Boy is a very good person. You will not regret. I know him. Yeah? Now, we are gathered here in the sight of God and in the presence of this company. Occasion. Start with the Lord, with God. Yeah? We believe that the bride and the groom, was created by God at the very start in the Garden of Eden. So it was God by Himself who originated this union, man and woman. Okay? Now I understand that probably soon or later you will stay somewhere else or you will go back to Paris. And the environment in Europe is different from our environment here. But I believe the principle that we look into and we hold on is the same principle. It's a universal principle actually that God established, at the very start in the Garden of Eden. So, you have chosen to begin it with the Lord, and I believe you will continue establishing this relationship, this home with God. You start with God and continue with God all over. So do not forget that. Boy, being the priests, being the high priests of the family, of the home. Kung wala pa ka naka-lead of religious and spiritual activities sa imong balay, kini, ikaw na yun magdumalaning. Being the father and being the priests. So, consider always starting everything with God. Now, God loves a wedding. God loves a wedding. The whole idea originated with Him when He formed the first wedding ceremony in the Garden of Eden. And I want to tell you, when God created Adam alone, He declared that it was not good. The same is true with Chacha. Chacha will not be good to be staying alone. Okay? That is what God declared. It is not good for man to be alone. When you say man, it's not only referring to male. Man is a generic name of male and female. It is not good for man to be alone. He implies that both male and female should not be staying alone all the rest of his life. And so, God created a helpmate, a partner. Not higher, not lower, but equal. Understand that? Equal means the husband is not higher to the wife, neither the wife is higher to the husband. Or lower. God created us as equal. Equal. That means consider one another as equal in the presence of God. Okay, now, what does this mean? When you go to Genesis 2:18, I said it's not good. And so God made this thing complete. He created Eve to make Adam complete. So, one is not complete Two is the whole of God's plan in human life. So, in your decision, one should not decide alone. It must be two to make it one. Huh? It must be two to make it one. So the two of you must decide together to make it complete. So nobody will decide by his own decision, but you have to agree together. Huh? You have to agree together. Now, let me strike this. Huh? Probably, one of you has a higher income than the other. Now, this doesn't mean that the higher income is the leader of the house. That should not be. Because in marriage, whether you have a high income or low income, you are equal in the footing of the cross. Okay? So you understand that? Huh? Boy and Sa, I hope that will be a reminder for your relationship. Now, we have 3 points that I want to share with you. One, when God created Eve, it was taken from the rib. The purpose, it was taken from his side.
Live na sa
For the
channel
woman
Paris,
was to be
France.
neither above nor beneath, but to stand by the
Lagi,
side of man, as I emphasize. Number two, the rib
Yan.
was from under the arm, for she was to be protected
Narapit
by
ng mataon.
him. So it was not coming from the wife's rib, but it was coming from Adam's rib. From the side under his arm. The reason for that is the husband has to protect the wife. Take care of the wife. What else? Support the wife. Huh? What else? Whatever things that is needed for the wife, the husband should provide. The same is true with the wife. You know, both ends. The last one, as I promise you, I will not speak long. The last one is, one, it was taken from near of his heart, for she was to be loved by him. Loved by him. Now, take note, we are not perfect. There is no such thing as perfect relationship. There is no such thing as relationship without argument. It is part of the dynamics of our day-to-day existence. But as Christians, we know how to handle some of these differences. So, when Christ is in our midst, love is there. Take note, you cannot love one another if you do not love Christ. That's the very essence. Because